The Malacoda is one of the most large and imposing threats that Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield will encounter during the events of the game Resident Evil Revelations. Discovered by happenstance, this gargantuan beast was the result of experimentation with the T-Abyss virus aboard the Queen Zenobia. Researchers had been infecting all manner of marine life when they happened to come across a fish that was contaminated with parasites. A happy accident that would eventually lead them down the path to creating this incredible Goliath.
What have they created?
The story of the Malacoda as we know it begins with an unmanned submersible expedition of the Chromatic Trench by Montpellier Marine University. During this expedition, they would happen across a fish 9,000 meters below the surface, demonstrating unusual characteristics. The fish was aggressive, ferocious even, a drastic change from the lethargy usually displayed by most life found at such depths. Curious as to the biology causing such behavior, the researchers would take the fish for further testing, discovering that it wasn't the fish causing this behavior, but rather a symptom of an infection. Fascinated, they would dub this new virus the Abyss, delving ever deeper into its effects and attempting to expand its capabilities. These efforts would eventually draw the eye of the FBC, or Federal Bioterrorism Commission, who would become entangled in the research, both parties trying to embolden the virus in a supposed attempt to better prepare for potential threats in the future. One of these efforts would see the Abyss being meshed with the T-virus to create the T-Abyss virus, a more potent and dangerous variant that would become the new standard for testing. Researchers would infect dozens of subjects as they observed the means by which the virus would develop in different marine species. One day, while continuing to run this infection gambit, they would stumble across a subject that was contaminated with parasites, an accident that would lead to the birth of one of the most terrifying BOWs to ever roam the Mediterranean Sea. During a routine experiment with T-Abyss, researchers would unknowingly infect a fish that was infected with parasites. To their surprise, not only would the virus affect the host, but it would also trickle down to the infestation as well. The parasites in question were Gyrodactylus salaris, more commonly referred to as salmon fluke, a tiny monogean ectoparasite that essentially feeds off a fish's skin, damaging the host's epidermis and reproducing itself to devastating results. This discovery would fascinate the scientists aboard the Queen Zenobia, delving further into the potential as they took infected parasites from one host and implemented them onto another, watching as the fluke would replicate and infect the new host, all while growing to sizes unfathomable before the application of T-Abyss. Based on their observations, the infected parasites would grow to match the size of their hosts. As such, the larger the host, the larger the parasite. Researchers hypothesizing that there were no limits to this growth, theorizing that infecting something like a whale would produce parasites the height of buildings, a theory that they would soon put to the test. Malacoda are among the strangest and most terrifying foes that can be found around this desolate ocean liner. A beast that awes with its sheer size and overwhelming force as it lashes out with parasitic tendrils and sheer ferocity. The Malacoda is the summation of dozens of parasites, all infecting the body of a very unfortunate host. And while the host itself may be a force to be reckoned with, the cacophony of worm-like parasites dripping from its every orifice make it more than a match for all who find themselves in the dangerous depths of this infected sea.
I dropped off some ammo for you!